Hey, welcome to another episode of Play With Your Dick, Not Me. What is this? I don't even know, because we took a break. Episode 13. As much as I love doing the video podcast, I'm just not going to do that this week. There's just been a lot going on. So, I apologize for the delay. Yeah, there's just been a lot going on. Just having stupid fucking car issues. Trying to figure that out. I don't know, sounds like a transmission issue with my car. So I don't know what I'm gonna do right now. So I'm just low place emotionally, mentally. Trying to remain optimistic and positive, but I don't know. My job is 45 minutes away, and even though the company I work for is awesome, I feel seen, heard, supported, and appreciated by them. I had to miss 2 days of work last week when my car lost power on my way to work. Luckily, I wasn't on the freeway yet. I was stuck in a spot in traffic where there's been lots of construction, so I was able to pull over to a gas station. But my husband Tiger tried to look at it that night, do a couple things, went for a test drive. It was fine, and then he tried to get it past 40 miles per hour, and it just powered off and shut down on us again, and all the error codes popped up. So, we did try taking it to a mechanic that my husband's niece recommended, and they were trying to say 7,000 for a new transmission. So we went and picked my car up because we ain't got that. And so Tiger called several places to get different quotes, and nobody fucking answered their fucking phone. One person did. So we're actually supposed to go meet with him today. But I don't know. Like I said, I'm not entirely optimistic. I don't know what we're going to do. I work 45 minutes from where I live. And anyone that lives in Tooele knows that there isn't there's not a reliable bus system out here. Uber's not really a thing where we live because it's not the city, and everybody has a car, everybody drives, so it's just not a thing out here. I don't have family I can fall back on. I have a couple awesome friends. We're actually like a newer friendship, and this is kind of the topic of this week's episode, I guess. It's kind of something I woke up thinking about at the beginning of the week, just observing people's behavior and stuff from afar. But this is a newer friendship. But her and her husband were so kind, so gracious enough to lend me their spare vehicle. So that's currently what I'm using right now. But because I am somebody that never likes to inconvenience anyone, even though they said that we could use it for as long as possible, I just am very uncomfortable with that. Like, I don't like the idea of having to owe people money. I don't like the idea of borrowing money or borrowing things from people. Like, it just makes me uncomfortable. And, I'm always worried about something going wrong, or, and I wanted borrowing their vehicle to be an absolute last resort, because I don't want to take anybody's things from them. Even if they're like, no, please, you can borrow it, it's totally fine. Even if they're totally okay with it, it always makes me uncomfortable. I just, at the end of the day, I don't want to inconvenience anybody. That's just me. And so, but in the meantime, like, this is the only option I have. So, but I'm very, very appreciative to them. And like I said, I'm just trying to stay positive. I went and seen my therapist yesterday, and one of her last questions to me before I left was, despite you being really stressed out right now, what is keeping you grounded? And I said, I don't know, I guess just, feeling as if no matter what, everything's going to work out for its highest good, highest purpose. I love my job. the thought has definitely entered my mind that I may have to put my 2 weeks in if I can't continue getting to work. I don't do well not working. I get in a very depressive state. Not that I don't love being at home with my kids. I do. But I don't know if it's the Capricorn in me or what. But I love to work. I need to have the balance. For whatever reason, I tie my self-worth to working and having a job. And that's actually something that I was going to unpack in therapy next time, because I don't want to be that person that every time I'm not working, I'm depressed and difficult to be around and, low energy. And, I don't want to be like that. But I do go to a depressive place and think that I'm worthless and not worth anything unless I'm working. And I don't know why I'm like that. I mean, I have an idea. I definitely didn't get my work ethic from my mother. I mean, she never worked. She enjoyed being a stay-at-home mom. I mean, maybe she would have been a little bit happier if she had worked. I don't know. I mean, she seemed like she was pretty fulfilled and felt whole. It was something that I lack when I'm not working. I don't feel fulfilled or whole. I don't know. I like making my own money. I like working. I like interacting with people every day. I like making my own money. I like being able to just buy things if I want it. I'm not a woman that likes to rely on my husband's income. I'm not, and I never will be, That's just me. I'm not passing no judgment on anybody. There are some women that feel completely fulfilled being stay-at-home moms. There's some men that feel completely fulfilled being stay-at-home dads. Do you? You're killing it. But it's not for me. Like, no judgment. It is absolutely a job to be at home taking care of kids all day. Absolutely. But unfortunately, the government doesn't pay us for it, But yeah, for me personally, for my mental health, it suffers if I'm at home. And like I said, my mom never worked. She seemed like she was a good homemaker. She was. She kept us kids busy and entertained and stuff. By the time my stepmom came into the picture, I wasn't looking to her for anything. I wasn't looking to her for womanly guidance or motherly, when you're younger and you look up to your father, the male figure in your life, the woman, the female figure in your life for, motherly, you know what I mean? By the time my stepmom came into the picture, I was like 14. So I wasn't looking to her for shit. Really, the only thing I learned from her was the labor of love when it comes to your spouse. That's really the only thing I can say I learned from her. But as far as like work ethic and shit, I wasn't looking at her for that by then. I wasn't paying attention. Like, she works sometimes, but she was so inauthentic and she lied a lot and she wasn't a genuine person. So I learned pretty quickly to not really look to her for anything. So, but anyways, but my dad, I do remember, I mean, when things were tough in our household, like financial wise, I will give him that. He never let on to it, ever. If there were ever times that my grandmother or my aunt were supporting us financially, I never knew about it. When it came to hardships like that, I never knew what our financial situation was as a kid. My dad never shared that. Or I'll say the man who raised me. I've removed those labels from those individuals. So the man who raised me never let on that when he was struggling financially. I do remember there were times where he was unemployed because he was not nice to be around. He was very difficult to be around. He was mean, rude. He would snap at you. I mean, may the force be with you if you woke him up, I mean, I was usually the one that got screamed at. But, and even though he was home every day, he was not giving you a ride to school. He wasn't picking you up. So I still had to rely on my friends for that. But mostly he was just an ornery fucking asshole when he wasn't working. So my guess is that's where I get it from. But I don't process it as orneriness. When I'm not working, I'm not scary to be around. My kids aren't terrified of me. I still get up and take them to school and pick them up. I still do things with them. They're not walking on eggshells around me like I had to with the man that raised me. I'm just I just kind of fold into myself, and I'm quieter, and I'm sad. And when I'm by myself, I'm not feeling whole. I'm not feeling fulfilled. So, but like I said, the only person growing up that I had to look to with any sort of work ethic and how they processed when they weren't working was the man that raised me. So I'm assuming I must have got it from him. But, it's something that can be unpacked in therapy. But anyways, what I wanted to, I kind of woke up with it at the beginning of the week. So I never started this podcast for, to create a following or to go viral or anything like that. But let's be honest. At the end of the day, that's what everybody wants. At the end of the day, everybody wants likes. Everybody wants follows. Everybody kind of hopes and manifests to go viral, to eventually be able to monetize whatever they're doing. And you're a fucking liar if you say you're not. I originally started this because it had been something I'd wanted to do for years. I procrastinated it. And then I was kind of pulled by my hair, forced onto this spiritual journey, healing journey that I never asked to be on almost 2 years ago. And I was also feeling all this drive and motivation near the end of it, or when I guess got to the other side of it where it wasn't so rough anymore, where I found myself wanting to write again. I found myself wanting to pursue things that I used to love and stop doing for whatever reason. I just had this newfound motivation and drive, and starting a podcast was one of those things. And I was hoping that I could reach the right audience and help people, and what I had to say resonate with people, or there were people that, I could relate to me, or I could relate to them. But anyways, so I was thinking about people in your life who it may not be easy to see in the beginning, because you haven't gotten there yet, and just how when you're either at a very rough spot in your life, or you've hit rock bottom, or something huge has happened, you tend to see, or there's just been a big change. You tend to see the true sides of certain people, who you once thought, I guess, that you would never see this less, I guess, desirable side of them. And sometimes there's people in your life and they check all your boxes, they fill your cup, they show up for you in all the ways you need them, and you kind of can never imagine them not being in your life. I mean, I literally said a couple episodes back that I have everybody in my life that I need, and I've curated my life just how I want it. And so it was just interesting that a few weeks later, there was just kind of this shift and this newfound level of understanding of, no, there's a few people in my life that are starting to now feel temporary to me, that not temporary, but their time in my life is probably coming to an end. They've served their purpose. They came into my life for a reason, and they served their purpose, and they filled my cup, and they've been there for me, and they've loved me and showed up for me, cared about me, and I've, done all the same things for them. But you kind of see the true sides of people. Like I said, when you've hit rock bottom, when there's been a massive change, when something has happened, you kind of see, I wouldn't say people's true colors. I mean, I guess that could be one way to put it. But, when you're a kid and you have best friends and you couldn't imagine never not being friends with them. And then high school ends and you guys kind of just go your own separate ways, kind of like that. And so, paths collide, and then for whatever reason, they eventually, start to go a different way. No hard feelings, you wish those people well, but their time in your life has just come to an end. Or is possibly coming to an end. So, not that I'm saying that anybody in my life is receiving a pink slip and on their way out. I'm just saying that, like, I'm starting to notice how certain people are currently moving in my life, especially with the things that I've been trying to accomplish and do. And I know that I'm not entirely the same person that I used to be, and that I've changed and shifted a lot. And that can happen too. That's a natural thing that happens too. There could be a person that you once completely aligned with on opinions, values, morals, all that stuff, the way you viewed the world. And then, you know, there's a change in you or a change in them, and things between you just don't completely align anymore. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. But like, if you guys don't quite click right together anymore and can't really find common ground anymore, like, it might mean that your guys' time has come to an end. You know, it doesn't have to end in a negative way or crash and burn. It could just kind of be something where you both kind of realize that your time has come to an end. But you know, I am trying to, despite all this stress currently going on in my life, I am trying to create something. I am trying to do something with my podcast. And I've just kind of noticed the lack of support that I'm getting from people that I've known for years, have been close with for years, who I thought were always going to show up for me no matter what, support me no matter what. And I'm noticing, you know, for example, that I'm getting more support from people that are strangers, or that I have a newer friendship with, or people that I haven't seen or talked to in years, and they're clapping for me louder than the people in my everyday life. And, you know, that's a jarring, realization to come to, especially when you see certain people and you don't see them ever leaving your life. And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, I'm doing this thing. I told you about it, you know. And so, yeah, it's something that, like, I remember hearing about this kind of stuff in interviews with, like, celebrities, you know, being like, oh yeah, nobody believed in me. I said I was going to be a singer. I said I was going to be a rapper. I said I was going to be a basketball star, whatever. And I had people laugh at me. I had people that didn't believe in me. I had people who told me, like, don't quit your day job and stuff. And then they're kind of like, look at me now. And where are those people? Where are those people that put you down? And so I feel like I'm kind of starting to understand, you know, what they meant by that. You know, even though I'm still starting out and still trying to get this going, like, everybody at some point had people that doubted them, had people that maybe laughed at them, or maybe thought that their idea was ridiculous and they were never going to get anywhere. And where are those people now? You know, not, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're not in those people's lives anymore. You know, now that they've made it, now they're successful. Do you think they kept the doubters around? No. You know? So yeah, I just started feeling like, I don't know, honestly, it reminded me of a time in my life a few years ago. I had a couple friends. We were all kind of in the same stages of our life where, I don't know, we were just dating fuckboys, or we were having trouble in dating. So we all kind of just commiserated. And these same women, you know, saw me cry. They would bring me alcohol and junk food to cheer me up when another fuckboy had screwed me over. You know, like, we had all been down in the dumps with each other, you know, wondering why, like, we're good people. Why do we keep getting treated like shit? And then when me and my husband reconnected and got together 13 years ago, you know, when you've had some bad ones, you know what a good one looks like. So, you know, Tiger was like it for me, you know, like, it was like, oh, that's why it never worked out with all these other guys, because I was supposed to be with him. And I got that realization rather quickly because of how amazing, you know, Tiger treated me, and how well he took care of me, and how happy he made me. And that hasn't changed 13 years later. He didn't love bomb me and pretend to be somebody he wasn't for 6 months or a year to trap me and then be like, haha, this is how I really am. I'm a fucking dickhead. No, he's the same exact person he was from day one. You know, do we argue? Do we have days where we don't necessarily like each other? Absolutely. But he's still authentically the same person he was when I met him. Not met him, but reconnected, because we went to high school together. But the same person that I started dating 13 years ago. You know, he's always shown up for me. He's always been there for me. But back then, when we first got together, you know, I was understandably very happy. I had never known that kind of care and love and respect before from a guy. And, you know, so of course I was doing what everybody does on social media, talking about it. And, you know, making little sappy posts about how happy I was and posting pictures of him and I. That's what everybody does in a new relationship, you know? And these same women that had commiserated with me earlier, instead of them clapping for me and cheering for me and being excited that I found a good guy finally, these same women who sat with me and cried, and we all commiserated with, you know, our own little stories and experiences with fuckboys, instead of, you know, so they seen me at my lowest. And instead of them being happy for me, they were all jealous and they were all pissed. And they felt like, why her? You know? And that was hurtful. And that was also very eye-opening for me. Like, I literally had one of the women, like, I don't talk to any of these women anymore. This was years ago. Like I said, they showed their true colors and I exited them out of my life. But one of them literally sent me a message on Facebook around this time, years ago, and was like, I owe you an apology. And I said, for what? And she said, I don't know. I just, you know, I've been seeing all these pictures of you and Tiger, and you guys look so happy. And I don't know. I just got jealous and started talking shit. And I realized that that wasn't okay. And that wasn't me. And so I wanted to apologize to you. And I'm like, wow. And that wasn't the first time. I had other friends. They didn't say I need to give you an apology for talking shit. They were more like, you're getting annoying. Or like, this is, you know, just comments. And it was like, wow. You are the same females that wiped my tears. But now that I have a good guy and you guys are still, you know, commiserating and still unhappy in your own relationships, you guys can't be happy for me. And so I had to assess my circle and walk away, because that wasn't the type of energy, that wasn't the type of people I wanted around me. And at the time, I mean, I was 25, so still figuring life out. I'm 37, still figuring it all out. And, you know, it was really eye-opening for me, and it really hurt my feelings. And it made me think, like, why don't I deserve something good? Why don't I deserve to be treated well? Why don't I deserve to have a good guy that loves me and treats me good? You know? And I had to get to a place where I was like, you know what? This has nothing to do with me. This has nothing to do with me. This is a them problem. This isn't me. This is not a reflection of me. I haven't done anything wrong. I deserve to be loved correctly. I deserve to be treated good. I deserve to have people in my corner that clap for me. Even if what I'm doing, oh my God. Even if what I'm doing isn't their cup of tea. So reverting back to my podcast for a minute, even if what I'm doing is not their cup of tea, you can still support me. You can still follow me. You can still like my content, you know, because you could be doing something that it's not my cup of tea or not something that I would normally be interested in. But because I love you and I care about you, I'm going to support you. I'm going to cheer. I'm going to be in the front row clapping and going to all your stuff. Even if it's, you know, I'm going to, you know, promote your product, let people know about it, share it, tag it, whatever. If I'm a guest on whatever you're doing or promoting or in a marketing of whatever you're doing, I'm going to advertise it on my social media so people can see it. I'm going to get the name out there for you. I'm going to get the word out there for you. And so when I don't get that same back, that's hurtful. It's hurtful. And it makes me think that I need to start reassessing the people in my life. But going back to when I first got with Tiger and having these women like make me feel horrible because I was blessed with a good guy. And it wasn't even just my friends. I also had family treating me that way. I had a brother who was miserable because he couldn't find love which really, if I'm being honest, my personal opinion is because he created negative karma for himself later or earlier in life when he was, potentially breaking up a marriage by, having extramarital affairs with a married woman. So, I mean, I can tell you exactly why you're miserable and can't find a fulfilling relationship and you're all alone, because you were a home wrecker to another family when we were growing up. So I didn't quite know what was going on then because I was just a kid, but I eventually grew up, put the pieces together, you know. And so he didn't talk to me for 3 years because he was sick and tired of seeing my post on Facebook about how happy I was with Tiger and all that stuff. Because my family member literally told me, because I said, why isn't my brother speaking to me? Like, we've always been close. Like, he won't return my calls. He won't answer my texts. I tell him happy birthday. He ignores me. And she was just like, my aunt was like, don't worry about it. Like, he's just upset and jealous because he keeps seeing your post of how happy you are and he doesn't have anybody. And I'm just like, wow. It'd be your own family sometimes. It'd be your own family. And I had other siblings. I had another brother and a sister who treated me the same way because their relationships weren't unfolding the way they wanted them to, or they weren't finding their person. So, yeah, I've experienced a lot of that in my life where I'm just like, why? Like, what is wrong with me that I can't, that I'm not worth having people be happy for me or have people cheer for me. So like I said, again, I had to reassess my circle at that time, distance myself from those unhappy, miserable family members who couldn't be happy for me, and remove myself from that friendship group of girls who could not be happy for me. So, yeah, I don't think we're ever done learning. I don't think we ever quite have it all figured out, no matter how old we are. So yeah, I think I've just had this weird feeling that even for me, I mean, I've had to do it a few times in my life where I've had to reassess my own circle and decide if it's time for me to clean house, if it's time for me to, distance myself from some people or remove them, or, sit there and, kind of figure out like if their time in my life has come to an end. And it doesn't have to be seen as a bad thing, it doesn't, because I'm sure the same thing has happened. I've been that place in other people's lives where I was in their life for a season, I served my purpose, and they didn't need me anymore. Like our lives just didn't align anymore. Our paths, had, were no longer running parallel to each other, and it was time for me to go my way and them to go their way, and that's okay. That's okay, because not everybody is meant to stay. They're meant to serve whatever purpose. Like that at the moment they enter your life, it's for a profound reason. Either to get you to the next level in your life, either to be there for a form of comfort when you're going through a rough time, either to just learn some lessons from, and vice versa. And, none of that can be a bad thing. It doesn't have to be looked as a bad thing. And it also doesn't mean it's over. It could just mean that there's a bookmark in your story with that person. A bookmark is being placed. But the story's not done being written, You both just need to go your own separate ways, learn some other lessons, figure some other stuff out, elevate in other areas of your life. And if your lives are meant to, intertwine again, you will. And if not, then it's probably because that person served their purpose and you served your purpose in their life. And that's okay. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. Like, what is it? Like, if you love something, let it go. If it comes back, like, that's how you know, or whatever, or it's meant to stay. I think that can apply with friends too, And it doesn't have to be seen as a bad thing. And like distance doesn't have to be seen as a bad thing. Like you can still love them, wish them well, cheer them on from afar, but you guys just are no longer a part of each other's everyday life, you know? And like that's okay. Like that's all, none of this has to be seen as a bad thing. It doesn't have to be seen as a negative. But for me personally, I mean, I'm also under a lot of stress right now. I'm also, you know, my job is hanging in the balance, and it's all, you know, determined on whether I'm going to have a vehicle to continue getting there. So I'm also under a high level of stress right now, and you know, mentally and emotionally and everything, just in a weird place, you know. So I mean, my hindsight, you know, it could just be like I'm seeing things, you know, more clearly in all other aspects of my life, or because I'm so stressed, I'm being hypersensitive, you know, because like I said, and like I've stated in past episodes, people are busy. People have a whole fucking life. They have their own shit that they're going through, they're dealing with. And so I also keep that in mind and make sure I give everybody grace. But at the same time, I also feel like sometimes I give people way too much grace, you know. But irregardless, one big lesson that I've learned is that no matter what, God, even if I'm holding on tightly to somebody, even if I'm holding on tightly to a situation, to a job, to a relationship, to a friendship, it doesn't matter what it is. If God has decided that that thing or that person or that job or that living situation or that relationship or that friendship, if God, divine, universe, source, whatever you want to call it, he, she, they, whatever, when the universe decides that something is done in your life, it'll take it. It'll take it. So for me, I'm kind of like, I don't really got to do anything. I don't have to have a conversation with anybody. I don't even have to actively start to distance if, you know, if I don't want to. At the end of the day, God will remove who he feels has served their purpose in my life. You know what I'm saying? And he will remove me from situations and people and places that I no longer need to be a part of anymore. I have a hard time with this. I've learned to relinquish control and learn that we control nothing. The idea that we have control of anything is an illusion. So I understand that jobs change, people leave, you stop talking to people, all of that stuff. And there's a purpose for it. God is not going to explain the purpose to you. And that's something that I struggle greatly with, because I'm like, you know what? I wouldn't go through the period of being angry, sad, and upset and crying and shit and being like, why did you take that from me? Why did you take that person from me? Why did you take that job from me? Whatever from me. And every time I've ever had that question, eventually, weeks later, months later, years later, decades later, you know, the reason does become clear why God shifted, moved, removed, whatever in my life. It has always become clear eventually. But my issue is, why can't you just tell me? Why can't you just be like, okay, I know you love this job, but I'm taking it, and this is why. I don't know. I just feel like I would handle it better. I just feel like I'd handle it better. Like, I'm removing, I know you love this person. I know that you think so highly of them and they make you so happy and they're awesome, but I'm removing them from your life. It's time. And here's why. You know? But he doesn't do that. The universe doesn't do that. And so that's the frustrating thing for me. I'm learning to let go. I'm learning to accept that people will be removed. People will leave. Jobs will be taken, or jobs will be left, and all of that. Situations will change. I have a very hard time. I really hold on to things, and I hate change. I fucking hate change. I hate it. And that's something that I've really had to work on. But yeah. But I have learned that no matter what he takes, changes, shifts, removes, pulls me out of, that there is a bigger reason for it. And it's always been revealed. Always been revealed. Not when I want it to be, but it's always been revealed. And so the thing that I am struggling with right now is that I do love my job. I do love my 9 to 5 job that I go to Monday through Friday. I do love it. And so it would really suck to have to leave. It really would. It really fucking would. But the thing that I'm trying to keep in perspective is if it really does come to that, it's because the divine universe, source, whatever you want to call it, has something bigger in store for me. I don't know what it is, but there will be a reason. And the reason will eventually in time be revealed, you know? So, but no shade to anybody. Not talking about anyone in particular, not talking shit about anybody in particular. But yeah, I don't know. I'm very intuitive. I read energies like crazy, especially since being awakened and having my whole spiritual awakening and all that. Whatever, I don't know, spirituals, psychic abilities, whatever that I developed as a child that scared the living fuck out of me. So I suppressed them. Whatever abilities that I suppressed most of my life, they've become more clear and more to the forefront now that I've like accepted and have gone through my journey and have awakened and everything. And so energies are just so much louder and so much clearer for me. And so, yeah, I think it's important for everybody to just kind of watch how people move in your life. How they move when you're at rock bottom, how they move when something amazing happens for you, how they move when you go, hey, I have this awesome idea that I want to do and I'm excited about it, and you're promoting it and you're doing it. And, you know, pay attention to how they treat you and how they show up or don't show up for you, how they become silent or don't become silent, or how they cheer for you or how they don't. If you get into a new relationship and you're fucking happy and this person treats you amazing, pay attention to the people in your life and how they move around you and how they're suddenly treating you when you have something good. And honestly, like I said before, reassess your fucking circle. Because if you don't have people around you that aren't cheering for you, that aren't your biggest fucking cheerleaders, then you need to go. You need to remove yourself away from them, or you need to remove them from your circle. Like, fuck them. I'm sorry, but fuck them. You may have loved them a lot. They may have shown up for you in all other ways in the past. But if you've had a big change in your life or a shift, whatever, you're doing something different, you've started your own business, you're in a new happy relationship, if these people cannot show up for you in the way that you need them to, if they can't clap, if they can't cheer, if they can't support, if they can't like, follow, share, whatever, fuck them. Cut them loose. Cut them loose. Because you know what? That shit hurts. Because if you hang on to them, knowing that you would never do them that way, knowing that if they came up with any idea, even if it wasn't your cup of tea, even if you couldn't quite see the vision, but you're like, fuck it, I'm still going to show up for you. I'm still going to cheer for you. I'm still going to support this. What do you need from me? If you know that you're going to show up for everybody in your life, that you're going to cheer for them, that you're going to be happy for them, even if your life is not currently where you would like it to be right now, even if life fucking sucks for you, even if you ain't got a car, ain't got a job, ain't got a spouse, you know, aren't where you want to be in your career, ain't married, don't have kids, what if you're at rock bottom, whatever your situation is, but you're still cheering for your friends and cheering for your family, and then they can't do the same for you when you're in a better situation or when you have an idea or whatever the hell, then you don't need those people in your life. Because for me personally, I'm that person. I'm that person where it doesn't matter what I'm going through. It doesn't matter if I'm sad, mad, angry, unhappy, if I ain't got a man, if wherever I've been in my life over the years, I have still always shown up for other people, and I have done my best to fill the cups for other people, even if what's happening in their life is not happening for me currently. I am still going to cheer. I'm still going to support. I'm still going to share, follow, like, whatever for other people. And so it's very, I guess, telling, eye-opening when I know what kind of person I am, what kind of friend I am, and I don't get the same back. And this all goes back to who the fuck is filling your cup? Who the fuck is filling your cup? Because if you're out here filling everybody else's cups and nobody's filling up yours, again, you might need to reassess your circle. You might need to reassess your fucking circle. Because me currently, I am noticing strangers, new friendships, and people I haven't reconnected with in years. And then we just started connecting recently because we met up to go to a concert together or whatever. I'm noticing, again, strangers, new people that I've just become friends with, and people that I haven't talked to in years, but we've recently reconnected. I'm seeing those people clapping and showing up for me and cheering me on and supporting what I'm doing more than everyday people in my life who I thought would show up for me. So I will have to do my own assessing of my own circle. But like I said, I really don't have to do anything. God will remove who he feels he needs to remove. He will make clear of, look, I know you love this person. You guys got along great. You connected, you vibed, but your time in each other's life is coming to an end, or it's coming to a pause, whatever the situation may be. And that's okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be a bad thing. You can wish those people well. You can still love them from afar, and you can still cheer them on from afar, So, but but it's just, I think it's a good thing to keep in mind for everybody. Pay attention to how people are moving around you. Pay attention. No matter what you've got going on in your life, pay attention to how people are moving around you and how they are showing up for you. Are they cheering? Are they not? Are they supporting you? Are they not? Do they appear happy for you, or are they not? It's a hard lesson to learn, but it's essential. It's essential. At the end of the day, it's essential. It's all about your mental health and your peace at the end of the day. And if people are bringing you burden more than they're bringing you peace, again, you should be assessing your circle. So, just some lessons that I've learned in my 37 years of life. But I am going to end it here. My boss has been blowing up my phone. So I'm actually taking my mental health day today, so I'm not even at work, but I need to see what she was messaging me. So I'm going to cut it here, and we need to go see about my phone. My car. So we need to go see this mechanic about my car. So wish us luck there. But thanks for tuning in to another episode of Play With Your Dick, Not Me. I can't promise that the other one will be, the next one after this one will be right out, because I'm really just playing it by ear, by how I feel mentally and emotionally. But thanks for listening, and I hope that everybody has a good weekend. And as I always say, be fucking kind. Be kind. You don't know what people are going through. You don't. Smile, compliment, but just be fucking kind to everybody. You have no idea. Just be kind. That's it. So, catch you guys in the next one. Bye.